Now what we're going to address is the replacing of the valves, intake and exhaust valves on the compressors. I don't need to change these. I'm just going to take them apart to show you the basic process. And then while we have them out, I just want to go over a couple things with the valves and the O-rings. And then we're going to touch on piston clearances inside the head. So I'm going to start off. I want to do things more on this side because there's less shadow. But we're going to remove this cap. Well, let's put it this way. We're going to remove the cap. We're getting ready to go and access some components inside the compressor itself. Before we start, I want to go over my lockout tagout again. Main circuit breaker is off. Locked out this valve on the discharge side of the compressor. Up there, I locked off my overhead valve on my inlet. I have locked off my power. Now I want to prove that there's no pressure inside this cylinder head before I do anything. So let's open this up. Very little. Same thing here. Open this up. Little bit of oil got up into there. Nothing. We'll just let that continue to go. For just a minute. We're going to shut it off. No risk. Now we're going to remove the outside cover. Well, that one's seized up. Holy shit! Thing shouldn't have seized up like that. That's what it should have been like. Sucking vacuum. There we go. There's a little O-ring. Right around this one you can see better because this O-ring actually came out. The hell? Come on, there we go. And now we've got this lockdown nut. We'll put this bit in here. We're just going to back it off just a little bit. Just take the tension off. Now, I'm going to take a 5/8. Shit, maybe we're not. I didn't think that thing would be it. Put in there that time. That's better. Well, fuck. Piss on that. No. Got another O-ring right in there. Now we're going to pull out this cage, and right there, just reach in, pull out that, and there is my crush ring crushed in there. So there's an intake valve. It is difficult to see, but see if you can get the camera in there. And what we're trying to find right up here is the bottom of the piston. We want to check its gap clearance as it comes down here. Now that I've got that down, we're going to go here to the cork and appendix E, piston assembly details, piston clearance. So we're measuring down here at Y. We are at D as in David 891. Bottom needs to be somewhere between 10 thousandths, 20 thousandths. Got the feeler gauge. So let's find out here. Six. Right, 20 thousandths, maximum amount. Let's rotate that down just a little bit more. That's down a little. There we are. All right. So it says right here we are a biggest gap can be 20 thousandths. Let's try another one here. Let's get to where it's, here's 18. Let's try 18 thousandths. My gap is 18 thousandths. I'm within their range, so that's what I wanted to prove with this. Now if we want to prove whether or not this leaks, if this is still good or not, is we want to put some methanol down inside here and see if anything leaks out. So I got methanol all the way around. Well, shit, tipped it. Tipping it doesn't count. Put a little more in there just to be safe. Hold it up. Nothing is leaking through. So that means that valve is in good shape. Another way to test your performance of your valves is to take a laser thermometer while your machine is running and shoot all four exhaust, all four intake, and they all should be within a few degrees of each other. If you have one that's way out of bounds, that's a good warning sign that you need to pull that valve. There's probably something wrong with it. So now we're going to go ahead and put this in. I'm not going to remove this crush gasket from here, but it's really this, when you go to put it in, they fit on here pretty well. You just want to keep everything to where nothing's in a bind. There we are. We got it to where it seats. It's still wanting to fall out. You can take a look at that. It still wants to kind of drop out, but we're going to go ahead and put this cage in. Stick your finger in there and try to line up that stud, and there we go. So these were all replaced fairly recently. None of these are bad. So what I went ahead and did is I went my little O-ring kit, and we're going to replace that one. We're going to dig this one out, and then we're going to replace these O-rings. Just use a little bit of Vaseline on that one. Same thing on this. You can see these were taken apart not that long ago, so I still have anti-seize on my bolts. Not going to go ahead and add any more. So what we're going to do, so we'll go ahead and get these put back on. This is not tight. We will tighten that down after we put this back in. And where this other O-ring seats, we want to keep it wiped down. We want to get any paint or anything else in there that cause this cap to not seat. So now we got that kind of finger tight, we'll go ahead and snug everybody back up. Now on this one, we'll set this with a torque wrench. £40. Okay, I got this one set. And I have to go get me a socket for this, I think. 1 1/8 or 1 16. That's it. Had it up in there. Now we put our cap back on. I always have some measure of trouble getting them back on. I have no intention of tightening it down as bad as it was last time. Here, let's see if that does it. Now, let's finish taking this top one off. Is that loose? Yep. There we are. Brought them out. My crush gasket is still inside there. I'm going to leave that one alone. But here on this one, if you can do it, If you can get your finger in like that, get it, hold it in a little bit of a bind. That way you can put the cage and the valve in. And we're the same thing. If we wanted to check that, we'd pour some methanol down in there. So now I've got to spin this piston all the way to the... So let's go ahead and get this thing set at around 90. That's 25, 140, 60, 80. It's about 90 thousandths. So that's 90 thousandths. We're well within the range. So that means I know my piston clearance is good. It's a good thing to know, because when you come and take the top part off of here and you ever pull a piston and you take all the, especially if you remove all the thrust washers, you can accidentally put things in the wrong order and then get your piston out of clearance. So that's how, if you ever want to test if your piston is in the right travel clearance, that's how you do it. So now that we have that, we'll go ahead and reset this. We'll confirm crush gasket is still in there. There we go. It's in there. Now I can work on replacing this. And where's my cap at? Where'd I set it down at? I hate that. Took it off, set it right down. Right there. Right there it is. We'll take this one out. Get that removed. Again, some Vaseline. Help keep everybody in place. That's it, done. When we're completely done, we can test this for leaks by pressuring the compressor up. And I just, warmer weather, just use a solution of dish soap and water. Just spray it all down. If anything leaks, tighten it up, do what you have to. You can get it to stop. Usually they don't leak though. That's with, as long as you replace the O-rings. Now the next thing we're going to work on is pulling the top part here so we can actually get and look at the piston.